It's mailbag time here on NBA Now by Chat Sports. My name is Harrison Graham. We are ready and eager to answer all of your questions. So use hashtag NBA or Super Chat to get those questions on the show. We'll start with Ryan in a Super Chat. If you Super Chat, you can skip the line. Appreciate it, Ryan. He says, do you think the Curry brothers will ever play together? You know, I wondered if this would be the offseason where Seth finally signs with Golden State, but living here in Dallas, I can actually speak to this. Seth Curry's family has lived here the whole time, even after he got traded here. This is like their home base. They like being here. Third time back in Dallas, so I'm not surprised the Mavericks brought him back, and I'm definitely not surprised that he agreed to sign with Dallas. Maybe he plays like 1 year in Golden State after this 2-year deal, and maybe they retire around a similar time. Who knows? But it's not going to happen, at least in the next couple of years. Shout out Mike Dibble. Do you think the Hornets will re-sign P.J. Washington or sign Grant Williams? So that's what's interesting, Mike. The report is that they want to offer or sign Grant Williams to an offer sheet, and I'm like, I mean, he's a better three-point shooter. He's got a little bit more positional versatility, but I actually think Washington's a better overall scorer. So, like, do you want to take the chance of waiting out the couple of days? I guess you could operate like this if you're Charlotte. Sign Grant Williams to an offer sheet, and if Boston matches, then you just circle back to P.J. Washington. Maybe that's their plan, but I would just probably re-sign P.J. Washington. Daniel Moriarty, should the Mavericks go get Jarrett Allen from the Cavs? I would like that. They need a true rim protector. They've needed better rebounding. He would provide both of those. He's a guy who can score 15, 16 points per game as well. Pick and pop, pick and roll game. So I'm in on that. I know he didn't play great against the Knicks in the playoffs, but I think he would be a solid starting five for Dallas. Certainly an upgrade from what they've had in recent years. Judo Comas Meffer, do you think Landry Fields is going to blow up Atlanta and put his fingerprints on the team because he is new? If so, who is getting traded and where? Yeah, he's running their basketball ops now. I mean, look, do they trade Trae Young? I think that's the big question, right? They moved John Collins. They obviously brought in DeJounte Murray last year. Do they feel like they can win a title with Trae Young? If not, they could dangle him out there and see what he would fetch in a trade. We'll see. I kind of wonder if Atlanta is more of a trade deadline team. Remember, they brought in Quinn Snyder midseason last year as their head coach. Maybe they want to kind of just run it back somewhat after the moves they have made so far and see where they sit at the trade deadline. And if not, maybe then they do a big blockbuster trade midseason and kind of start that rebuild process. Shout out your favorite team in the comments. I think Judo's I said Falcons. Maybe he's a Falcons fan too. YouTube.com/FalconsTV if you're a Falcons fan. But Hawks as well. Whatever your favorite squad is, drop it down in the comments below and represent. Let's go to Ronnie here. Who do you think Golden State is going after? I mean, they've been quiet. I mean, they re-signed Draymond Green. They've signed Corey Joseph. There was a rumor that they wanted Dario Saric. That's kind of quieted down in recent days, so I'm not sure. I mean, could a sneaky trade be coming? Are they just going to run it back with what they've got? You got to think they've got something up their sleeve to shake things up just a little bit. Michael, do you think that Tobias Harris will be traded? Latest report on Monday was that the Sixers do not plan on trading him, which I don't know why you wouldn't at least listen to calls. Maybe the offers they have received or the interest they have received just hasn't been that good, so they're like just leaking it. Yeah, we don't want to trade him because his market isn't that good, but I would at least be open to that. I know Chase Sr., host of 76ers Now, would like for the Sixers to trade Tobias Harris, but as of now, I don't think they plan to. We got what do you think the Bulls move the Chicago Bulls do with Ayo Dosunmu? I mean, he's restricted free agent, so the Bulls might just let him test the market and see what a team will sign him on an offer sheet, and then they can make a decision. They obviously re-signed Kobe White, 3 years, $33 million, incentives up to $40. They signed Javon Carter to a 3-year, $20 million deal. They applied for that disabled player exception for Lonzo Ball, who's expected to be out this entire season. That would give them a $10.2 million exception. Could Ayo re-sign under that umbrella? Certainly a possibility, but I think that they're going to wait and see what the market dictates because since he's restricted, they can match any offer. Don't panic. Don't panic. Do you think the Celtics should pick up another free agent? I feel like they need a true playmaking guard. I mean, they obviously lost Marcus Smart. How do they feel about Malcolm Brogdon at this point? They tried to trade him to the Clippers, and then they ended up trading Smart to Memphis. So I am kind of with you. I think a playmaking guard would be interesting, but who's that player? Could you trade for Colin Sexton, someone like that, someone who's been connected to rumors, but again, he's almost more like a two-guard, undersized two, so I'm not sure where Boston sits right now. Chris Haynes reported they were interested in Damian Lillard, but Dame apparently doesn't want to go there, so that's kind of a sticky situation as well. Pat Norris, do you think the Heat can who do you think the Heat can get to fill out the roster? Well, let's just say they trade for Dame, and let's say Hero's off the team, and some combination of 2 or 3 other players, Duncan Robinson, maybe Kyle Lowry, Caleb Martin, Nikola Jovic, some combination of those 3 or 4 guys. Let's say 2 or 3 guys in general are gone. They got to fill out some vet minimum deals. I mean, can you get a Christian Wood on a vet minimum contract? Could you get, I don't know, who's another cheap name that is sitting out there in free agency that I'm trying to think of? I mean, how about like a TJ Warren? I mean, he seems like the classic vet minimum guy that you could bring in at this point in his career. Mo Bamba would be interesting as like a backup big. So there's names out there, but it would definitely be vet minimum contracts. GM Evan Hinder, Chicago try to acquire Mike Conley. Why would they do that? I mean, if you're the Bulls, I get it. You're running it back or whatever, but you don't want an aging point guard that actually is kind of expensive. I just don't think Conley to the Bulls is helpful at all. I would not go that route if I was Chicago, but the way they've been moving, it would not surprise me. Subscribe to Chat Sports for more NBA coverage, news, rumors, free agent signings, everything else that's going on around the association. Join the family here. It's 100% free. All you got to do is hit that subscribe button. Mike Dibble, what team signs Kelly Oubre? It's a good question. I mean, I think he's kind of in line for a decent contract. He averaged 20 points last year. He's not the most efficient player, but mid-level exception for a team, somewhere between 8 and 12 million on a 2-year deal maybe you go 2 for 20 for Kelly Oubre. I think that's a fair contract for him. He's not a great three-point shooter. He's kind of a up-and-down defender, but he's really athletic, good in the open court. So I think he's certainly worthy to sign. I think for a contending team, like a high-volume bench scorer is the type of role he could play. Hoops with Satin, who do you think is better, Luka or Trae? Come on, man. I know I'm a Mavs fan, but be real. It's obviously Luka. Luka's a top 5-6 player in this league. Trae Young is top 20 player. Luka's more efficient. And people who would say, well, Trae's a better three-point shooter, not really statistically, not as of late. So Luka's a better passer. Trae's a great passer. Luka's bigger too. Like, he's not the best defender, but when he locks in, he actually can hold his own there. Trae's just limited athletically on that end. So there's really no discussion. It's clearly Luka. And I like Trae Young, but Luka is just a generational talent, while Trae Young's an all-star. Scott Peterson, do you think the Warriors will sign Christian Wood? I think Christian Wood needs to go to a proven winning culture. Golden State, Miami, Milwaukee, Boston even. Like one of these teams that has its culture in place and can kind of rein him in a bit. He played well for the Mavs last year offensively. He just has an effort problem, doesn't seem to be the most coachable. He needs somebody who's going to hold him in check in that locker room. Dallas didn't really have that vet voice. I mean, Luka was only 23 last year, so wasn't going to be him. So I think if you get him into a locker room with Golden State, with guys who've been around for 10, 12 years, Steve Kerr, veteran coach, I would like that fit quite a bit. I'm extremely goofy. Do the Grizz have enough money to possibly sign Grant Williams? I think they're over. I think they're over the cap at this point. So it would have to be with an exception. I'd have to double check what those are. I don't think the answer is yes. I don't think Grant Williams is a real option for Memphis. Who's your least favorite player in the NBA? Some might say Grant Williams. He was mixing it up with Jimmy Butler in the playoffs. Let us know and tell me why it's Dylan Brooks. That's my least favorite player in the NBA. Gold Fox, appreciate the super chat. If the Heat trade for Dame, is Hero guaranteed gone, or is there somehow he is able to stay? Rolly, Mike up. Is it even mathematically possible? I guess if Kyle Lowry's in the deal, the answer is yes, but I don't see any scenario where he would actually end up still being on the team.
So I'll chime in here. It is mathematically possible to do so because Tyler Hero has the same cap hit for 2023 as Kyle Lowry. So if you just subbed it in for each other, it would work financially. Now, is it realistic? Absolutely not. He would all but likely have to be going to a different team to coax maybe a pick out of that team to go to Portland, because if Portland doesn't want him, the Blazers are going to need more than the 2 first-round picks the Heat can offer, plus a pick swap. So there is going to have to be a third team that takes in Hero and sends an extra pick to Portland in that potential deal.
If Miami had more draft capital, it would be more possible. But since they don't, I think it has to be Hero, to your point, so that fetches an extra first-round pick. So that's kind of the long way of answering the question. The Matrix, do you really think Dame is going to the Heat? Look, I think they're the favorites. I don't think they can offer the most. I think there's other teams that can come up with better packages. But if Dame is set on going there, that makes them the favorite because he can just tell teams he doesn't want to go there. Now teams can call his bluff, and Portland could say, hey, this team offered us way more. We're sending you there. But typically in these situations, the player gets to go where they want to. Not always. We saw Kawhi get shipped up to Toronto. Kevin Durant last summer requested a trade, and that didn't happen until midseason. So doesn't always happen, but typically the player, especially one who's been around and has done a lot for the franchise they're playing for, typically they get what they want. Michael, will Paul George be traded? I don't think so. I still think the Clippers are going to circle back to James Harden and bring him there, and then you go big three of Kawhi, Paul George, and Harden with those role players as well. I think the Clippers are going to run it back for one more year and add Harden to that nucleus. Appreciate all the questions here on NBA Now by Chat Sports. If we didn't get you, we apologize. We'll be back with more live Q&As in the near future. So be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications.